All right, in this video, I want to go over just a couple quick details about Wavestune. This is what we're using for auto-tune on our vocalists. So the reason we are using this is not really because we have problems per se with any of our vocalists. It's just when you put things in isolation out on the web and compress them down and whatnot, pitch inaccuracies start to sound way further away than they actually are. So we don't have pitch issues very often, really, if at all, when you listen in the room. But as soon as you put things in isolation, a little bit is a long way. So this is only really a safety net for our vocalists. This isn't something that we're going to make jokes about or talk about with really with anyone that we're doing it. And that's not because we're trying to be sneaky or anything like that. We just don't want people to think that they're bad as a vocalist, and that like, oh, they have to use auto-tune because I'm not making the cut. And then B, we don't want our vocalists to get lazy and just be like, well, they'll fix it in there, so it'll be fine. That is not a good mindset, because this will not make a bad vocalist a good vocalist. It will only be a safety net for a really good vocalist. So that is why we're using it. It's become kind of an industry standard. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian artist, a secular artist. Very few people aren't using this. A lot of our vocalists would be able to come into a studio session and record and be just like right on pitch. But in the live situation, there's just a lot of stuff going on that pitch can start to drift a little bit. So what we're going to just quickly go over are the controls that you have to edit in the moment as the service goes along. So control number one to be aware of is this bypass button right here. This bypasses the correction on and off for the plugin. If you use this power button or this activate button here, that sometimes can introduce an audio click or a pop. It's not going to do it because I'm not playing it back. But if you use the bypass, it will not do that. So the bypass is important because we will use that when a person is speaking and not singing. Very rarely can you hear this plugin when someone is talking, but just in case they like hold out a word for a while, this will pick that up as a note. So we will bypass this plugin whenever the person is talking. So typically that's whoever the worship leader is for the morning. In this instance, it was Mike. I think Deb also prayed at some point in the service. And so we just make that go away. The other control that we have to adjust is the scale down here. So this is where we choose what key we're in. Generally, I think this will pretty much always stay on major, so we don't have to mess with all of these different key types. You'd have to be a music theory genius to keep track of some of those things. But we put on the skinny, on the service order, what each song is, what key each song is in. So for the little example here that I'll play, we are in the key of B. So we just select the key of B. If I click A, it moves over. And you can see up here, the notes that have these minuses, that is saying those notes are not in that scale. So it's saying it won't correct to those notes because they don't exist in the scale of B in this example. Okay, so those are the only two things that you have to adjust. In all of the plugin effects chains, these settings here are set to be as transparent and natural as we can make it sound, while still keeping stuff under control if someone has a pitch mishap. All right, so those are the controls: bypass and selecting your key. Let me show you quick how we find that plugin. So in the mix window, which pops up over on your left screen, you have your plugin chains here. We've talked about this in a previous video of how we bring these in for the vocalist. So what I typically do, right here you can see Wavestune on both of these. This is, I didn't name these here, but this is Alan and Deb. What I will do is I open this. You can see it pops up there, and there's a pin button right there. This guy right here. Okay, when you select that and it's blue, you can see it pops up on the screen there. If I leave my mouse, keep editor open. So now this plugin window will stay open and I can open another one. So now I can open Alan's, like so. And his is also a blue pin. These will now stay up on the screen no matter what I do. If these pins are not pressed, turn them off and X them out, you can only open one of these at a time. So if I open Alan, you can see we have vocal 1 here. And then if I open Deb, vocal 2 comes up, but vocal 1 is gone. That's a problem because we need to be able to have quick access to this as we go from song to song. So for all of the vocalists that you have, you open these and pin them to the screen. Now I don't do this until I got all my settings figured out in the session. But for Sunday morning, we're not messing with any plugin settings or anything like that. So when I do the service, 2, 3, 4 of these are open on between the two desktop windows because we've got 2 monitors in here. So you pin these up, and that way you can quickly change keys as the song changes. And I'm going to show you why that is very important. So I'm going to pull this window back off of the screen capture here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to hit play here, and you're going to see that oh boy, sorry. We're going to see some correction happening here. Deb's vocal take is really great on this. This was the live service from a few weeks ago at the 11 o'clock. So here's the chorus of Hosanna, I believe.
Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest.
So you can see that B and that B flat, those are very close. So there she went a little bit flat. And there she's going a little bit sharp. So you can see this is correcting her down or correcting her up. So when you don't see anything here but you see a note, that means that she's right on. And these little bits of correction that are happening are very minor. So I'm trying to make the point that our vocalists are really good. This isn't fixing someone who can't sing, which is why philosophically I'm okay with us doing this. So we're gonna pick the key of C, which is a half step sharp from what we should be. And we're gonna see what this does to that vocal take that we just listened to from the same spot.
Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest forever.
Clearly, that is bad. So this is one of the more important things that we have to do in here is make sure that this is set correctly. So we'll have discussions about this on a one-on-one basis, but you cannot mess this up, obviously, because it made Deb sound like she couldn't hear herself at all. So yes, that being the example of why this is really important.
Hosanna, Hosanna, Alleluia, forever.
Okay, so there's your quick overview of Wavestune. Just to touch on the things we talked about, the 2 controls we have access to and we use are the bypass button for when the person is trying to speak and not sing, and then selecting the key down here. And then the other thing is making sure that your pin is on so that you can open multiple windows of this so that you have all of your vocalists on the screen. So hope this is helpful.